Welcome, buddy, back to episode 2 of the Bench Cut. Wild response to the first episode. Holy cow. Over 5 listens. I'm just blown away. Thank you to everyone who listened, everyone who reached out. Right after that episode came out, I looked in the inbox and 2 messages. I'm going to get back to everyone, but it's so overwhelming just trying to answer both of those. Before I get into this episode, I feel like I just have to say this show is not meant to be like some sort of dick swinging trail builder contest. I'm just trying to get as many different perspectives from trail builders as I possibly can. It's not even about my own opinions. I'm just trying to bring on guests who can share their experience. And the truth is, everyone building trails or riding them, they have such different tastes. Where their building is different. Maybe they're doing it for money. Maybe they're just doing it for the love of it. Everyone loves different stuff. Right now, I want you to imagine in your head the worst bike ride you've ever done. It's a 10-kilometer hike a bike up some shitty mountainside, and when you get to the top, somehow you're back at the parking lot. You're so angry, you throw your bike, you land in a hornet's nest, and they're swarming all over the place, stinging you. They're flying down your esophagus, shitting out larvae and eggs, and someone out there loves that stuff. Some rider loves that stuff. All I'm saying is different folks, different strokes. When it comes to trails, the possibilities are endless. That's why it's such a fun thing to talk about. This week, I have Ron Penney, the owner-operator of Landmark Trailworks. I've been friends with him for a while. We've built quite a few kilometers of trail together. I went and worked for him for a couple of years. One of my biggest inspirations behind the way I build trails, that's for sure. And I know, I got to get some tech guys on here too soon. I don't want it to just be all flow or whatever. So over the next hour or so, we talk all about building trails with machines. We talk about the psychology of riders, understanding the people that are going to be riding your trail. We talk about the business behind trail building. We talk about different techniques. So I'll quit blabbering and let it start. I guess you like digging, kind of?
Well, what? Normally introduce me, don't you?
Well, last time I did this, I worded this really weird and it was awkward for the dude, but I tried to get him to pick one of his builds to introduce himself with that people would recognize. So
Yeah, that could be like...
if you could pick a project that you've done that people could kind of put your face to.
I could see that being awkward, but the chances are that would be... you could say steam shovel after the road. You could say super nugget. More people have probably ridden the ski hill than anything else that we've built, which is like enduro park type settings, I guess.
Yeah. I would say Super Nugget's probably the trail that I would think of that most people would know.
Yeah, so those trails are like Landmark Trailwork trails, and that would be me and our crew. And yeah, I'm Ron, last name Penny. That's who I am. For all the people that don't know, I'm old. I'm an old man. So I'm 51 years old, and I've been building stuff, transitions and things of such since probably I was 10. Like skateboard transition, I was a skater kid, so I did a lot of that, and then straight into snowboarding and backcountry booters. So understanding transitions has been my whole life. So way ahead of the curve. And then way back in 2010, I bought my property and I built my own park. And for the same reason, I think every other builder on the planet is a builder. And that is whatever's out there in the world is not enough for you. It's not what you're after. It's not what you like, maybe. And I don't know. You have this need to go and figure out what it is that you want to ride. I think anyways, I think that's how you become a builder. And then it gets to the point where I'd say most builders, you're probably not even a real builder unless 50% of the time, you don't know. You're going to wake up the next morning, you're going to go building or you're going to go biking. There's a 50-50 chance that that's the way that's going to work out if you're a true builder. And either way, you're just as stoked one or the other. You're not like a mountain biker per se. You're a trail builder and a mountain biker, which is a completely different thing.
Gets to the point where you have to force yourself just to get out onto the bike.
Yeah, you do. You kind of do. You get trapped in building, and that makes for a really good, way of thinking if you're going to do it professionally, for sure. This year I got on my bike 8 times. I've currently got this hernia, and I need surgery for it, and I've been waiting for that, and that's why. But at the same time, hasn't been hard on me to sit back and just work the machine and build trail, right? It still makes me just as happy, and I could probably do it long after I am biking. I don't recommend that, by the way. You should know how to ride everything you build. I mean, that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah. When you're a little kid, probably start building some crazy shit that everyone looks at you funny for building and doesn't go right, but that's how you learn.
Yeah, I don't think there is rules. There's a lot of people, especially young gun. I was young at one point, and I had a lot of opinions and a lot of things to say about what other people were doing. but the truth is, trail building is 100% an art, and its beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And there is no rules, like 0 rules. Although, if you're getting a paycheck from it, and there's outside influences trying to get something out of what you're doing, which is, people are paying you to build a trail, and you have to, if you want to be successful in this, you have to, I'd say, 70% of it is you trying to get in the mind of what the majority of people will enjoy for that money that everybody works so hard for. That's the business of trail building. It's not trail building as a whole, but that's the business of trail building. Now, if you're not that and you're building on your own and it's your own pirate trail or private trail or whatever it is, there's no rules. You build what you want, and what anybody has to say about it is like, I don't know why anybody would listen to any of that, because they're not building it. So
before we started recording, we were just talking about that. The people paying you money, the more they can actually ride it, or the people they want to build it for can ride it, the happier they're going to be with your product versus you just building whatever makes you stoked.
Yeah. I mean, the great art of being professional and getting paid for it is trying to make it so that you enjoy it and they enjoy it. And generally you will. I've been doing it so long that I can find that line between both worlds or whatever. But professionally, there is a rule. There's like one rule, and it's gotta work. Your distance has got to work. Your speed's got to work. I feel like you should be able to chuck your brakes in the garbage can and be able to ride the thing. And that's just to give people as much chance to not get decimated out there as you can. Most people are punching way over their ride belt, and you want to give them the best chance possible to hit the landing if they have no skill, right?
It sucks seeing people get hurt on something you built.
Yeah, well, it'll happen no matter what. You have to get used to that.
But if it happens a lot, then there's something wrong, especially at the same spot many times. There's obviously
for sure. And I've gotten that even with stuff that I've built, and that's the 2 occasions that's happened is me putting in the alternate side hit choice where you can go and ride something at a black level, say on a green trail. You give people the opportunity to do it, they're going to take that opportunity. So unfortunately, you can't sort of mix and match color belts.
Well, before we get too much into trail theory, should we go back to how Landmark kind of started? You said you got here onto the farm in 2010. You came from Calgary before that, I think, right?
Right. I situated myself in the Kamloops area on purpose. I spent 6 months thinking about and searching for properties that I could build my bike park on. And I ended up situating it between Sun Peaks and Silver Star because I'm like, okay, this is great. They're not super popular hills. They won't get as trashed at the time. It'd be a great spot to set up a park and live, I think. And Kamloops is a dirt jump place. It always sort of has been, and that's definitely obviously I've been riding for 30 years. Since the beginning of the first suspension fork, I've done it all. XC races, I've done it all. But really, at the end of the day, the heart lies with the snowboarding style of mountain biking, which is just jumps and contour and sends, I guess you could call it. But so basically bought this place because there was no park and no place that had stuff that I thought was big enough to ride. I was dragging my bike up in 2001 to Norquay, the ski park, and hitting the 70-foot snowboard table on my ATX1. That's what I was into. I was snowboarding over it. I thought I could do it on my bike. I did. It worked the same. I was like, oh, the world of biking can be so much bigger. And no one's going to do that, right? You're going to ask someone to build that stuff out of dirt. No one's going to do that back then. So it took a while, like 10 years to get this place. And then I built a park and it was great. And then I ended up not going to Sun Peaks or Silver Star. I had 5 trails here. I had a jump park here with multiple lines. Like I had no reason to go anywhere. And I spent the last 10 years driving like 6 hours for a weekend in Whistler. And I was over it. I was over the cost. I was over everything else. And once you have it all and you do it your way, I didn't even leave my house, I think, for those 10 years almost. That's how this place came to be. It's the same reason you build your own trail, I guess. It just wasn't out there and I wanted it. So I made it. Gave me all the experience I needed to start a trail building company.
Yeah, I know you obviously did things perfectly from the get-go and knew exactly what you were doing, but was there any time, any learning?
Just way ahead of the curve. Like I bought the house, got an excavator at the exact same time, spent 3 years building the park. I didn't work. Like I just took it all off to build this park. And I learned everything I needed to do from that. I already knew how to operate from construction. I've always done a form of construction. Until I did this professionally. Even still now, I still do a lot of like reno work and a lot of other things to keep me afloat if contracts dry up. I'm sitting here on this property, living the dream, and then I hear that the local ski hill, and not Silver Star, I will call it Sun Peaks, because all my friends are from Kamloops, and that's just Sun Peaks naturally ended up being that would be the local ski hill for me. I heard they're putting in trails, and I couldn't stand the fact that at the time, anybody that could operate a machine was not a mountain biker, right? They're just operator or construction companies, and people were hiring them left, right, and center to build stuff. And I couldn't handle the fact that if I wanted to go to my local ski hill, I had to ride stuff that was going to be built by someone that didn't ride bikes and know how to do it. So way ahead of the curve, I already knew how to operate. And I obviously was building my own stuff for years. No one was really had those two combos together at the time. So I'd be an idiot not to start a company, forced to start a company and get in there and try and get those contracts. And that's all I was after. After that, I wasn't even planning on going still. I was just wanted to stop bad trails from going into.
I remember those days because I was on Sun Peaks trail crew, I think back then, and there was just like a machine operator who would come for 3 weeks a season. That was all the machine work that happened. And I was like 15 years old, just one of the hand shapers behind him. And there was no testing or anything like that. It was just like the fella in the house saying, "Oh, Keenan, I know you like the jumps big, so we're gonna build this booter big as we possibly can." And
there's still kind of a disconnect and a lot of that's going on.
That is the same guy who also took me under his wing and taught me an excavator and stuff. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, and it's good that they were open to all that and giving you that opportunity, because you were clearly like in your bones as a diehard digger that you never know if you're going to wake up and go biking or digging. And usually, knowing Keenan here, he actually goes digging. I'd say he digs more than he rides, but
yeah, it's a curse sometimes. But
he's still young enough to actually do both in the same day, which is, yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
Before you were building at Sun Peaks, didn't you do some stuff at Harper? That's the earliest trails I can.
Yeah, I was in a company at that point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like pretty good friends with Cheryl and Taylor from the cafe, and they're part of the KBR and all the trail building committees in town, and they wanted to do some stuff up there, and I said I would do it for whatever, a ridiculously low number. I didn't know any better at the time. I guess that was a good stepping stone to the Sun Peaks thing. I learned a bit from that, what you're capable of as far as getting a certain amount of trail built in a certain amount of time that would match a certain budget. So as far as professional trail building goes, there's all that, and that's a interesting, crazy game.
That was a wake-up call for me. Like when I first started working for you, coming from the ski hill background where you do have deadlines that you're trying to meet and you're trying to build things as good as you can, but to actually have a set meterage a day, when you first told me 90 meters a day, I was like, holy shit, that's going to be hard to build all these extravagant tabletops and berms and shit like that. Then after a while, it's like, okay, 90 meters is like almost a bad day once you get into the rhythm and get the process down.
Exactly. It's definitely a process. It took me a long time to do it. Yeah, I did figure it out, and it's quick. It's probably quicker than anybody else. I think that's the number one, maybe a compliment. I don't know, but people note how fast we're in and out. And to me, that's the only way to do it and make enough money to make you, last till next season kind of thing, right? But you're only going to get 3 or 4 trails a year, maybe. If I'd say averagely like 6 kilometers, like you'd be doing well if you're doing 6 kilometers a year, right? And that's, if you break that down to what it costs per meter and all the rest of that, people think it costs a lot. When you tell them how much it costs, they're like, whoa, you guys are the expensive ones. And in the beginning I wasn't, but in the end I realized pretty quickly that if I want to, pay for broken trucks and broken equipment and broken tools and gasoline and keep me going till next season, you need to make a fair bit of money at it.
You got to be able to sustain yourself. That's probably the number one thing you hear amongst trail builders is people say, I just can't afford to do this anymore.
Yeah, totally. They're dropping like flies, and it totally makes sense.
Already sparse market. And then if you don't have those strict rules and discipline to keep yourself to, like, I need this much meters done a day, I have this project that I'm doing that's paying this much, then it's easy to go over your head.
And if you were to give someone a tip about that, if you're not making your meters quota per day, you need to change your style of trail. No one's gonna, like, a trail doesn't suck if it's got it doesn't have a giant 30-foot tabletop that would take you all day to build. As long as there's action and there's cool stuff going on, sometimes you have to slim it down just on that fact alone. If your customer they want the gold, they want 20 giant tabletops in a row, well, you better think about that, and you better tell them what that's going to cost, and you better charge a different price because it takes time to do that. But no one's been unhappy so far, and we like to not have 50 tabletops in a row anyways, because we're mountain bikers and we like trail riding. So you put the big footprint in where the big landings and the big takeoffs are, and then you bring it back down the trail and you catch up a bit in your meters. And if you stick to that process, you're gonna make a banger trail that's kind of more fun and mountain bikey anyways.
Yeah. When I ride a lot of the stuff I've built the past few years, I find some of the funnest parts of the trails are the parts where I didn't spend a ton of time. And I was like, oh, I'll just get through here real quick so I can get to that next thing.
100%.
Then you start riding it, and those are the parts of the trail you actually look forward to. Because it's almost more like what you would be building anyways if you just went out into the woods and you're trying to budget your own time. It almost rides more like a natural trail anyways.
Exactly. And it's like, there is no one side or the other, right? Like everybody's like, I like hand built. I mean, that's a misconception. Everything we build, if it is a 30 or a 40 foot tabletop that's like 20 feet wide, it's hand built. I go and I shape it roughly, but they're in there with the hand tools, and they're raking and they're pulling and they're everything about it. It's like hand tuned at the end of the day, and that's a great thing. Big giant tabletop, great thing. Going into single track after something like that, amazing thing. And if it was all single track, it still can be an amazing thing. It doesn't have to be anything. It just can't suck.
Yeah, that's the number one rule, I guess. It's like that last section of Super Nugget. I've seen like hundreds of clips. Everyone posts like the really rolly, high speed last straightaway of Super Nug.
Yeah.
And there's not much volume on that. Like
No.
it's just like having the right grade,
Yeah.
having
Well,
like sight lines. I mean,
the
I
funny
know it's a bit of a steeper grade.
Yeah,
than
the
normal.
funny part about that, but I've learned a lot from that. I've learned a lot from it not being the right grade. We were like, you get trapped, especially in a ski hill situation or anything. You've got other people flagging trails, which I don't want to get into that right now, but
Oh, we will, but
you get into, oh, sure, whatever. But so you have to end up sticking to some dude's flag line that's like not organic at all, by the way. If someone's telling you to go somewhere, it just like ruins your whole.
we'll
Your
get
whole,
into the whole process of flagging and
your
the
whole
fucking.
freaking vibe. But I was trapped. I was trapped on that section, and we were trapped at like a 7.8 grade. And if I was to build jumps down that, they'd be like 50 freaking feet. They'd be massive. It'd be massive. I'd need a D12 and a giant friggin' 80 excavator and all sorts of stuff to build something that worked there, and that would definitely kill people. So I just built it as a ripper, and there's enough shifts and stuff going on where it's like a little bit hairball. I was freaking out because you put something like that in a ski hill, you're gonna get braking bumps, and they do. But what I did learn from all that, when you're dumping speed, like you have more than enough speed, you have too much stupid speed on your trail, people can frig around more and have more fun and smash into sides. They can play robbing speed, right? And a lot of my thinking, in the early days, and it's still to this day in some regards, if I'm thinking about a person in particular, but if you're like generally public trying to have a good time, dumping speed, I mean, it's nice to do a slash on a bank and skid around and blow stuff up and still be able to make that tabletop, right? And I learned that from that. And I have lots of friends that ride that way. Someone like Matty Miles in particular, he likes some of the trails that I can't stand. And I can't stand them because they're just overcooked. You're just rollers that are too aggressive and the speed that's too tight. Like you can barely survive going down there unless it's like wet and cold and slow. On a hot summer's day, you're going to die, right? But that guy is so much in the bank and so much dragging around. He loves that stuff. And I should have appreciated that more sort of back in the day. I don't have that kind of flexibility. I'm old and I'm beat. I've got bad hip arthritis. I don't play around in the sides much, but I learned that from that trail that, yeah, trails should probably be a little more overcooked than undercooked.
Yeah, you can almost protect your trail too by like giving things on the side for people to slash, so it's not just like in the middle. Like you almost give them the opportunity to slash in a place where it's controlled and stuff. I think there's a big difference between like scrubbing your speed on a trail, like you're saying, and then just straight up having a hard break for like cable or a corner all of a sudden that sneaks up on you and doesn't work. Like I think that's what really fucks up a trail versus like if you're just kind of on a trail with that slightly overcooked speed.
Sort of. That does for the good rider, but there's no way around it. Anybody who's a good rider isn't messing up your trail in any situation, I don't think. It's the people that aren't good that are dragging break in mostly a straight line.
Yeah, there's like the TikTok kids that fucking just right up into every berm, even if it's like the most mint berm where you have to like pump around it.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of like back
I
in
don't
the day.
care.
I get that, but it is something like I see like people argue about, online and stuff all the time. Like someone blowing up something and then someone going, well, you're messing with the builder. It's no respect and all the rest of it. But I mean, shit, we're mountain bikers and I don't know what you're out there having to respect trails now. Like, yeah, I build this stuff professionally. I have like in my backyard. Like if you go down there and mess shit up, I'll go fix it. I'm stoked you messed stuff up. I don't know what to say. It does suck from a maintenance perspective, but as far as the freedom of the bloody sport goes, I'm going to have to jump on the whole.
Well, that's why you don't make your trails so that like that fucking berm, if you don't rail it absolutely perfectly, the next jump is going to work dials. It's kind of like speed cucking yourself when the berm, like if you can't get the berm perfectly, the jump that worked perfect when you first built it, now the berm's shitty, and it's usually some big 180 berm into a big tabletop that's like worked perfectly when you built it. Half a year later, you're like, oh, now this ain't working.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. And that's like, I, even to this day, man, like we were having a conversation earlier. It's like, I've been doing this forever and it's still a game to try and figure out. Well, more so now, especially when you're not building for yourself. When you're building for yourself, man, life is easy. You make it your way and you do it how you want, and it's just sweet. You know it's going to be sweet. You know how to ride it. But when you're doing it for everybody, you're trying to think of everybody, the endless game of how to stop the brake bumps, but still get the grade you want, and trying to keep your ski hill run from blowing up. It's almost impossible, right? You
Totally.
look at Whistler and every more maintenance, more, and you're just like, no. It's like
I built a line at Revelstoke this summer. We were going no brakes, and then it kept just working no brakes. So I was like, okay, now my goal is to take my brakes off by the time the trail's done and like just ride the whole thing with no brakes on my bike.
I saw that.
And there is still fucking brake bumps on the trail. There's a little bit. Oh shit, spilled your coffee.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, no, exactly. Like you can't,
like, even if the trail works at a certain speed, there's always going to be,
there's going to be people dragging brake.
I can't remember who was just talking about it. I saw a video clip. I think it was like the guys at Di-Fi Bike Park, or I might be wrong, but they were saying they couldn't figure out why there was brake bumps in this one spot where everything worked perfectly. And it turned out that the trail went from an open ski run into the trees, and just going from bright to dark was causing people to hit the brakes because they couldn't see what was coming up, even though it was like a straight line pretty much with jumps that worked perfect.
And that's amazing. That's like that little piece of like information that they noted and figured out.
I wish I could remember who said that so I could quote them, but thank you, whoever you know.
No. And I mean, that's the part that keeps me like stoked to keep doing this job for as long as I can, is the fact that, yeah, it's something that you overlooked and it doesn't make sense and it's simple and it's still happening. And then you do figure it out and, you think you got the world by the tail and then something else.
Have you seen these like tracked grinder things, like the mulchers that they're doing in Europe now? And it basically looks like a groomer, but like a little mini version, and they're remote controlled, and they just bust the trail up and all the rocks up.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Up tracks only.
Yeah, oh, I know.
If you're going to do that, you're going to do that on up tracks only. I mean, the whole world's trying to figure out how to,
Ski hills in general, I think, want mountain biking to be a product that's very similar to the skiing. But
yeah, that's what they want.
That's what they want. But skiing, like every night, the runs are getting groomed, and like,
yep.
The other thing about skiing is it's all fall line, so you're constantly braking on skis. Whereas the goal with a bike trail is not to have to brake. Like ideally, is that the trail is doing the slow down for you.
Yeah,
and you get at a ski hill, they're grooming a run every single night. But a bike trail, like if it could get a machine on it every 5 years, that's going to be like, you barely even see that.
I don't know. You can go and ride like Upper Super Nugget, which is so built to grade. So much time was spent in harnessing that grade, and there's still no brake bumps on the thing. It's like it can be done. I don't know if that takes away from how fun your trail is, but I know how many people out there are not, hyper shredders and just out for a nice weekend ride with their family. And
I'm sure there's some dude listening that rode Super Nug this summer. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's all fucking clapped out. But like
lower
considering it's pretty good. And there's always that trail like that's been around for like 25 years. It's always just mint in certain spots.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's a grade. If you're struggling for speed, you're not braking, right? So it kind of is a bummer for people that can't get speed, but at the same time, if it's like rollers and things that are like something you can't judge yourself on not achieving, you know what I mean? It's like, a roller, you can pump through it any speed. You're doing something, you feel like you're doing something. Tabletop, you come up short, you feel like you didn't do it. It's not a good feeling, right? So it's hard in that regard, because in order to get people that can't corner over your jump, you can't build a big corner in front of your jump, right? So people ripping down around that corner that are really good, right? They're overshooting. And then if you want to make it for that green person, right? That someone that's trying to learn, have fun. But when you have too much speed, you're still grab and brake, and then you get brake bumps. There's kind of it seems like there's no winning that situation other than changing what kind of features.
Obviously, there's a way to make less brake bumps, though, and that's make sure your trail fucking works.
Yeah, make sure the grade is like...
When you're at a trail that just doesn't work, like old school machine trails almost too, where it's like there's no dirt even left and the trail's like down to fucking bedrock just because it's like straight down. Like back in the day, they used to just basically build machine trails fall line.
Yeah, 100%. Like old steam shovel was just a nightmare for that. They're laying carpet and then they're putting in the bricks and they're putting in all that stuff, right? It's not great. But I mean, even you look at the like lower Super Nugget that's built to, 7.8% grade or whatever. It's the same thing. I didn't want to do it because I knew it would bump out, and people would complain about it being clapped. It for sure is a high potential clapped out. And if that hill was busier, like a Whistler busy, it would be, it'd be destroyed, which sucks. So I generally wouldn't build something like that for the public. I know like people appreciate that, being able to dump your speed all over the place. Like it's fun. I think at home, that's the style I go for, or the private trail, just have more speed than not. But if you want to avoid your brake bumps, you got to make it perfect. And there's a big problem with most of that, and it's like a debate even within our crew. If you think of someone like Brad Stewart, he likes to build so that the trail works in the hot season, right? So it's the middle of the summer, it's bulletproof. You could call it dusty, whatever, but if it's a well-built track, there's nobody braking on it. It's got a blue groove. It's fast.
Yeah.
And
hot summer air.
He doesn't want to overshoot in that regards. He wants to land and grease in those conditions. Now, I'm the other way around. I'm like, I know the spring is short and I know the rain days aren't a lot, but those are the glory days. Like you get a beautiful rain and then you can't go ride your jump trail because it's too slow and you're reaching for everything and it just sucks the life out of the trail. I can't stand it. I can't. For a long time, I kind of was like, yeah, sure, Brad. Okay, we'll just make her dialed for the longer months, and the short season, it won't work as good. I don't know. I put 100 PSI in your tires. I put slicks on. Beats me. But basically, I've been building like that quite a bit. I would say upper Super Nuggets like that. It's built for the good season, and in the slow season, I won't even go ride that trail. It's too slow. But nowadays, if I was to go up and build a Super Nugget, I would build it so that in the hot, dry, fast season, you're just scrubbing the crap out of it. I prefer to scrub a jump, and then when it's rolling nice, you get a nice rain, or in the fall when it's cold and your tires are slow, like you can still ride in all those conditions and have it feel really, really good.
Yeah, that's something to think about, is how much speed changes depending on the time of year. Like even air gets thicker, like when it's cold, that slows you down, air resistance, and then the tread is wet, so it's a little slower than when it's...
Yeah, well, I ride all winter, right? I've done a lot of ice biking. I'd almost say I'd overdeveloped that ice biking. And I'm a big PSI nerd, and I'm a big tire choice nerd for rolling resistance. So I've been through it all. I've experimented with all the tires and all the setups and all the PSIs to try and, control how the build goes with that. You have to consider all that. I think you have to consider all that. You're going to get a whole slew of people. And this year we went and put a trail up in PG. You were asking earlier what we were up to this summer. So we put a trail at Tabor Mountain in Prince George. And we kind of stuck a little bit with the Brad theory, which is when it's rolling hot, it works really well. And then when it's, slower, it's a little harder to do. We went with that. I was a little bit hesitant to do that, and I did that, and I would still have a little bit of regret towards that. And what that made me think of is that, and I wanted to do it, and I didn't do it. But I think I'm going to start printing signs, and I'm going to put PSI warnings, because most people, especially in say Tabor Mountain, these are all mostly pedal people, right? So they don't even have DH casing. And
Their bike is probably set up softer too, the suspension.
who knows? Who knows? When you're an XC nerd and then you're like, oh, a brand new flow trail just went in my local pedal spot, you know, you're going to go out there and you're going to ride that thing. And they got like 20 PSI. And if I cornered anything with 20 PSI, my tire would be off my rim and I'd be on my face in about 2 seconds. There's rules to that. And if you're riding BMX, hard pack trails, bulletproof, and you're trying to corner, you need DH casing and you need a minimum of 30 PSI, which is outlandish to someone that just pedals and rides routes and rocks and stuff. I mean, if you're a World Cup racer, sure. But if you're the average person, they soften their bike up, and it makes sense. You need the traction. You want more traction for intermediate. It's a good choice if you don't have a lot of skill to deal with the aggression it takes to get through 30 psi, I guess, right? But you can't rail a corner with less than 30 psi. I could go on forever about it because it's the same thing with like tubeless. You got your tubeless bike and you're dropping your PSI so that your tire burps in the corner and it makes you look dramatic. And, there's like white jizz flying all up in the air. And you look like a freaking rock star and you're going half the speed, right? Yeah, that's not the way my brain works. My brain works is the fastest line and the quickest. And it's kind of like a mix between racing and jumping, which is, I guess, a weird combination. But that's...
Ideally, when you're building a trail for money, it's going to work to the biggest variety of people riding it, to the biggest demographic riding it. That's how they're going to like your trail. If they can't clear anything or if it doesn't work, they're not going to like your trail.
But I still can't get over the PSI thing just from so much experimenting with that. Like, if you're going to go ride a landmark trail you got to pump up to 30 PSI. You just got to do it. And I'm talking about a black trail here, by the way. In the future, I'm going to post a sign like this trail is a minimum of 30 PSI. Like that's what I would say. And I would say in the fall on that particular trail, because I didn't build it overshooty in the hot season, in the fall, bump it up to, I know it sounds crazy, but 50 PSI is not nuts when you're riding a bulletproof flat track. Like if you're
We're in the Kamloops area, by the way. Like,
we're totally talking about a flow,
a black flow in the Kamloops area.
A black flow, blue. I don't even need to even know blue. Anything. If you want the upper edge on speed, like I got no speed, I can't clear anything. Pump your freaking tires up. It'll help. I swear to God. And you'll be like, oh no, I can feel all these vibrations and stuff. There's no rocks. We took them all out. There's not a bloody rock on the trail, man. It is pavement. And in pavement, you can pump up to 60 PSI and no problem.
Yeah, Landmark does rocks different than pretty much most people, I think. Do you want to talk about the rock chucking process?
The rock chucking process is insane. I get it. I've like anybody that worked for me, like you can tell like people get worn out, I've got a skeleton bucket and I've tried to like pull rocks out for, workers to save them the grief. But it is, as soon as you're into a different kind of dirt, you have to be in like silt, dry. Your window of digging in the season where a skeleton bucket's going to separate dirt from rock is, and then you've got a whole bunch of people out there, they're showing their glam, 4K video of them with their sifter fence and they're like pulling rocks out in their hand, slapping. It's like, it doesn't need to be that good. This is just riding mountain bikes. I'm not that crazy. I get it for show. You want to do it, that's fine. But if you want to do it and make money, you're just like,
there's got to be efficiency too.
You got to be efficient. But we do have a standard in getting rock out. And there is like, we pull everything in within a foot of the surface. Stuff gets by, obviously, but the amount of time we spend on that is insane, and it can only be done by hand. It can only be done by hand. I haven't figured out a way around that yet. And by hand is fast. It's quite quick. Your chucker hates your guts.
Yeah, but like by hand, like you explain more. We're loosening it with the excavators, essentially, getting the rocks to the surface.
Sure.
And then we all get out, pick them out by hand and toss them off the trail.
Yeah.
Stir it up again.
Everything's loose, like, because you're piling dirt, so it's all just freshly moved. You're digging in the hole. You definitely, like, once you've got to how deep you need to be, you go the foot deeper and you mince all that up so it's just stirred and loose. And then, yeah, all I do is sit there and rake it back and forth. And then someone runs through, chucks them all out. And then I rake them back and forth and they go back in and chuck them out. And we just do that over and over and over and over until there is no more rocks. And then I'm down to like these little rocks that are like, 2 inches maybe. And I'm still like, sometimes I get all like, oh yeah, no, there's more. No, there's more. There's more. And they're looking at me like, well, what? How small are we going here, right? And all that just depends on how much time you have. If you're making your meters per day, you keep going until there's nothing in there. And you're definitely not dealing with softballs. If you got a softball rock in the mix, later on when your trail gets weathered down, that rock's going to surface and then someone's can't pull it out. Like you need to be able to at least pick your rock out with a pick easily in the future for maintenance. And so I'd say softballs got to go.
Yeah.
And then everything underneath, you just try because everybody knows some trails that have more rock in them than not. You just come around the corner and it's all pebbles, right? Like those will just keep coming. I have techniques on dealing with that too that no one listens to, but yeah, you want to get as much rock out of the dirt as possible.
I think it's different because a lot of people's process, I think especially people who have done it the same way for a long time, you go through with the excavator, you shape it all up, you probably pick out what you can with your thumb, and then you kind of just pack it, and then your rakers get to it when they get to it and rake the surface and superficial. And then I saw the trails that I built like that back in the day a few years later, just total rock pits, like the stuff just slightly under the dirt. Like I don't think there's a lot of people who do the rock picking before the compaction to the same level that Landmark has done it, at least where I see.
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time, and that's for your maintenance. Like really, if you want to go down your trail for the next 5 years with a fan rake every spring and just fan rake it off and not worry about a rock surfacing, that's like you need real tools for.
It makes your hand finishers' life easier too, and they can catch up because once the rocks are out, I think you're able to do a little bit more of the finishing work with the excavator, and then the hand workers can kind of just do a superficial thing wherever they have to.
Yeah, I could do it. I could almost do it all with the machine, and no one really has to do anything but throw rocks. But that would be
cruel. And
that'd be terrible for morale. A lot of trail building and with a team and trying to keep everybody in high spirits is giving people a variety of things to do so you can take a break from being the rock chucker guy. It's good for me to have enough contract where we had a team of 9 2 years ago, and when you have that size of team, you can shuffle people around on jobs to the point where no one gets sick of what they're doing. When you're down to 3, because to me a build crew is 1 machine operator and 3 ground crew. That can get a little challenging when for 3 days now no one's been able to do anything but throw rocks.
Yeah, comes down to kind of knowing your crew and having good chemistry with them. Yeah, well, we kind of talked about little bits and pieces of the process here. What if we were to talk about the ideal process and then maybe the process that ends up usually being when you get to a job and there's already a predetermined line and stuff? Like in an ideal world.
Oh, you want to get on the flagging?
Yeah.
Well, we can jump into the whole process, like how a trail comes to be. And
let's say you were just given free reign, like maybe it's not a a government grant project. Maybe it's just a private property.
Oh,
Let's-
okay.
Let's
Private
say
property.
someone's like, hey, build me the sickest trail on my property that you can.
Okay.
What would be your process?
Okay. That's a way better question. Yeah, I'm going to go build a trail, and anybody that builds trail probably already has this in them. You're going to go choose your area, and then you're going to walk for days through it all. You're going to scope it from the top to the bottom, and then you're going to go back up and you're going to do that again, and you're going to do that again. You're probably going to zigzag all over the place, and it'll probably take 2 or 3 days to do that. And then you'll see how the contour is on the entire area that you want to build on, right? You're going to note all the potential features that are easy pickings. You're going to be like, okay, well, there's a cliff over here, and there's a chute over here, and do they link up? And then you're going to put a value on that if they don't. You're like, well, I'd rather have a chute than a 4-foot drop that's over there, right? If you can, the dream is obviously to line up as much of that stuff into one trail as humanly possible, and then you've got your trail, right?
I like to use GPS to mark like a cool rock or whatever I find or something like that.
You could do that, but after walking up and down the mountain 6 times, you yourself know.
Yeah, you know where they're.
If you're a professional trail building crew, then yeah, I can't even walk anymore. So when you were working for me, you being someone that is tech savvy, right? Where someone like Brad's
borderline,
not tech savvy. I'll be like, okay, Keenan, you're going for the walk, right? Brad, you're going for the walk with him because Brad, you're an old man too. You got endless years of experience on contour and where to go and how to get there, right? Putting you two together is a kind of a dream team scenario for GPSing and landmarking and getting stuff that you can tell your customer that this is where we're thinking and why, right? And be able to go back to your computer later and Google Earth it and give a map to that effect. In a personal build situation, you don't need to do that. You already know if you have to relay it to someone, maybe if they're tech savvy, that's where the world's sort of changing, and that's where someone like Keenan here is gonna change the game. I think people need to start thinking that way more if you're gonna do it as a business, because there's a change that has to happen. I know that mountain biking's kind of dropping off right now. I don't even know if I'll have a job tomorrow, but let's just say it didn't drop off, and let's just say there is more trails to build. The process right now, you've got a Whistler standard. By the way, I don't really abide by. I have the Landmark standard. I think it's far better. But you have a Whistler standard, and you kind of want to build to it, right? For legality issues. Now, if you're a club and you need to raise money, this is how it all works. You need to raise money. You want to get a grant. To apply for a grant, you need a plan. And in order to have a plan, you need to have a GPS line. You need it flagged. You need all this information to give to the government so that they know that you have a plan. They're not going to give you $50,000 to build a trail if you don't have a plan, right? So that's the catch-22. And no one's calling Landmark Trailworks to get that plan for whatever reason. Maybe I don't put it out there. I don't know. But what they're going to do is call or somebody to go out there and come up with a plan so they can give it to the club so the club can put it in their package and apply for the grant. Now, those people putting that plan together, they don't know anything about trail building.
I'll beep out the name. Don't worry.
What's that?
I said I'll beep out the name. Don't worry.
You can be yeah, right. Well, hey, I wasn't saying that they don't know anything. I'm just saying.
No, a lot of the people
Generally,
who do
the people out there
yes.
doing the flagging and doing that part of the business don't know anything about trail building. Not like we know.
And we're talking basically the layout, like the GPS, the line the trail is going to follow, the flag line.
Yeah.
That
Like,
is given to you as a builder to follow.
we're not the same as every other build crew out there, that's for sure. There's like a lot of people you run into and they say this is how it is, and we go, what? That's crazy, right? But as far as like the way we build trail like 100 meters. Like, you go, you build, you got your basic layout. We've walked it. We've come up with our plan, right? Or we're stuck with the plan that someone else gave us. That's fine. But we build 100 meters. We get up, go to work. We build it. We come up with our turns and our contour, whatever we like, and we build it and we ride it. And then we assess that. And we don't just assess if it works. We assess the vibe, how it feels. You know, is it fun? Could it be more fun? Whatever it is, what kind of speed you have. You're like, how fast do we go? And do we want more speed? Do we want less speed? What do we want? We sit there and we bicker about this for hours.
How tired are you at that point? Are you ready to take a rest? Are you ready? Do you want to keep going? Are you ready to rip?
Yeah. Are we tired? Do we want a spot for people to rest? And we have a range of riders. I'm 50 years old. I get tired pretty quick. I still want to ride the trail. I still can ride this black jump trail pretty easy. I just need a spot to pull over.
Take a nap.
All that stuff is considered, right? And then you go the next day and you make all the choices for the next section and you do it. And then you ride it from the top to that point again and you assess it all over again. There is no way in hell I would ever build 2 features in a row without knowing that the one in front of it is the way we want it. And it rides like it's going to ride when it's done. And that's it. You just go like building real rhythm section and dirt jumping by hand. If you're in your backyard, one by one, you build these things one by one and you assess. So you can't stick to a flag line that way. You're making it up as you go based on your gut, based on how it feels, based on feedback from like 5 different people. Like, that's what it is to build a sick trail. And if you're going and like, I don't need that, I can go down and build this trail top to bottom without putting tires on it. Good for you.
You still hear that and you're like, well, like you just know, like, and they're like, well, you have a set grade and stuff. I don't know. A trail is a sequence.
Well, you don't know any of that. And if you can't see the value in any of those things we spoke about, I don't know. I feel like you're overlooking a bunch of things and you're not considering a bunch of things. You're not considering people. You're not considering anything. You're just out there for yourself and you're doing what you think is best. And you're not, I don't know, if there's not a thing on the planet that isn't analyzed or where analyzation doesn't make things better. Like, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, if you have the ability. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't do it is because they don't have that connection with their shapers to the point where what they're doing in the machine, they have the shapers close enough to even test it. I think it's maybe an inability to actually test what they're building.
It could be that. It could be budget. Like, there's like when you start, you think that how is it possible that these guys charge this much? That's the first thing you think. And I can do it for less. So you end up, and we did that in the beginning. I'm going to do it for half of that. I'm going to do it for this much money. And those are the corners you got to cut to do that. You got to just like go down there and mow and put something together based on just your first gut feeling. And you can go down there and do an okay job. And there's probably a lot of people that would ride through it and be happy. You know, they're like, oh, it's pretty good, you know. But the difference when you ride a trail like with the amount of thought that we put into it compared to that trail, if you can't see the difference, well, I don't know what to say.
So just like if you're looking at a map, what do you think some of the difference in characteristics between a flag line that was given to you and maybe the flag line that you would go and put out?
Well, we still to this day, I'd say it's even 50-50, maybe even 60-40. We're chasing someone's flag line.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much the only way it's going to happen.
But customers know us now, and they trust us now to the point where they're all like, okay, yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know, we're going to feather off here and, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. They bend as much as they can so that this thing will turn out as best as possible because they know that we do it that way. and they know that it turns out really good in the end. Yeah, the downside of chasing a flag line, an incorrect flag line, is going to be they didn't probably suss out all the potential features that could be built, right? I like to use the word, it's a stupid word, but I like to use undulations a lot because there's like a lot of contour that can be found on a hill that makes for really cool builds with less work, which gives you more feature for your buck, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if I can build you a giant step up with half the work, well, then you're getting more features down the line.
Yeah, if you could find something like a way to look at the natural terrain where all that volume is already there, you don't have to spend all day stacking it.
Yeah, that's right. So in a dream scenario, if I was to go and try and change the world, and I say this to every client, forget about the flag line. Just give me a cut block. Give me parameters of forest and say, we want a trail through here. Let's build a trail through here. And and you'll get the best trail out of that because we can control the grade the whole time 100%. If I'm stuck to your flag line, I can't control the grade. I can't, because you need room to shut down for corners. If let's just say we want some tighter, zippier corners, right? It's like I'm coming down the hill. I'm going, let's just say we got up to 60K. Sometimes a lot of times nowadays we get up to 60K. And then we need to do a switchback. Well, shit, you can't do a down corner going 60K, right? You got to go up the hill and dump all that speed.
That's the number one reason why I see harsh brake bumps on trails is because they're going high speed into a 180 berm.
Yeah.
I got into that with the last guy ollie quite a bit. So
yeah. No, down corners are it's like they're for steep tech. Like you just don't build down corners on a flow trail. Yeah, can, but you have to somehow be going slow, and the trail leading into that's going to suck pretty hard if you're going slow enough to do a down corner. They're out there, and we fight with them all the time. But no, you want to buck it up, and then you want your corner to be coming from you going uphill. You go uphill into the corner, you swoop around, and you come down underneath the trail, and then you're switchbacked out.
I think I already said this in the last one I did, but like you hear people say like, oh, I need to slow it down. I'm going to do a corner. I see corners as how you speed it back up. The slowing down is going into the corner.
The only way to slow down on a brakeless trail is to go uphill. Yeah. Period. That's it.
We don't need to get too into that because we spent like 20 minutes, I think, at least talking about that.
Oh, yeah. This could be a 4-hour conversation. Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do it again sometime. You just pick your topics you want to pick my brain.
I'm sure we'll do it again.
I got endless things to say about trail building.
You were the first guy that used e-bikes as a trail building tool that I know of, because I think I was a bit of an e-bike hater, and then I kind of saw you using them. How do you think e-bikes play as a tool?
That's an interesting question because it's gone beyond that since.
Oh yeah, now it's like
since then. Well, no, this year I went and bought a Sur-On. I'm not gonna lie, and
shame.
A lot of this, I know it's a
kidding.
horrible thing, and it's funny because I hate the things. Don't get me wrong, Sur-On's pretty lame. The e-bike situation started with riding with Matty Miles and Matt Hunter, and then e-bikes were coming down the pipe, and then. They thought they could get me on a soil searching kind of deal, and they'd get me an e-bike, and then I'd try it out for trail building, right? And obviously, there's no comparison. The trail building is super hard work. It's grueling. It's picture landscaping. Picture you're going to go out there and work in your yard. I don't care what, putting in fences, do whatever. Do it for 10 hours straight, and that's generally what we run. 10 hours straight of operating or digging or raking, and you don't really stop. You don't stop and have a picnic. You eat snacks, whatever. You rest a fair bit, obviously, but you go harder than anything you've probably ever done, unless you landscape or do some sort of blue collar thrashing work. So when the e-bike came, it's endless testing, right? You got to let's push your bike up 50 times to ride this line. Well, e-bike comes around and you're just like, oh man, now it's kind of fun. Actually, you zip up there, you test it, you zip up there, you test it, you zip up there. Everybody's having more fun riding and testing, and gives them, it's a break instead of a workout to go up there and test this stuff. Then, we're hiking diesel into the bush, chainsaws into the bush, lumber into the bush for bridges or whatever. Like now you're just zipping up there.
Yeah, you change a 2-hour hiking with fuel into a 10-minute ride.
Man, the
payoff goes straight to the customer too, and what you're able to give.
Payoff goes straight to the customer. You just end up more features, more work in that berm, more, and the morale's higher because people are having a little bit more fun at work. Now, don't get me wrong, but the Suron, like I lost the soil searching kind of sponsorship, and I always thought if I did, I would try a Suron, and I did try a Suron, and I honestly don't like doing a lot of bridge work or woodwork because the amount of effort and time it takes to lug in all that extra stuff and out and stuff. You can get, for one stunt, you can get another 130 meters of trail in the same amount of effort. You know what I mean? So what would I say to my customer? You want this thing made out of wood, or do you want this much more trail? Well, they're always going to go with this much more trail. We'll put in the wood ourselves when the time comes or whatever, right? So, but with a Suron, because our trails like get down to single track a lot because we like single track a lot. So you're not bringing in side by sides and you're not bringing in even quads, right? Like you're not bringing in any of that stuff. But a Suron, we can backpack all the heavy stuff in really fast and fuel really fast and anything. I got like my machine brakes. The time is like tenfold to the full power e-bike. It's like, it's not even, and this is from a business perspective. Now, if I was a trail builder out there, hand digging my own stuff, maybe I'd do a Suron, but who wants to pay for that when you can just pay for a real e-bike, and then you got the best of both worlds. You got the mountain bike and you got the e-bike, because don't get me wrong, a Suron, I mean, kids love it or whatever, but it sucks going down a mountain bike trail on a Suron in comparison to going down the trail on even a full heavy e-bike. Like a full power turbo levo is more fun to go down my black jump trail than a Suron. It just is. So it's strictly from a business perspective, it's a weapon of a tool. It'd be like having a quad that fits anywhere. And I would recommend it if I had a trail building company. I'm like, this is what you get. There's another aspect to it all. When the e-bike came, the turbo level came, packing corners, I machine pack them all, and then I back pull dirt away to make sure that that berm is solid, generally, or I pound the crap out of it with my bucket. And then these guys shape the shit out of it, and then they tamp it, and then they hand slap it, all that stuff. But even after all that, it's still not, like middle of summer bulletproof, and you want to know how fast your corner is going to run. So you run your e-bike back and forth and do 50 laps. It packs it and makes it amazing, and it's a weapon. But a Suron, as long as you don't put chunky tires on there, I was even thinking of putting slicks on there, it'll also pack out a corner 10 times faster and better because it's got more weight, and I would recommend that too. We did pack a lot of corners with the Suron versus the e-bikes because it just did a better job faster. And from a business perspective, faster, that's really all it's about. The more speed you can put into your trail building, the more time you can put into all those other things that you think about every day, which is how it rides and how to control the braking bumps or whatever is going on out there that you come up with.
Back to the process. The other thing was getting your machine off the tread and climbing around. The efficiency went up when you're climbing around and you do have a narrower tread because you haven't disturbed the ground to the point where you're always sitting on it.
want like a narrow foot pack, and you don't like you can build any trail you want. Like you can use a 5-ton machine and build a single track trail that's whatever 24 inches wide. Let's just say, just to be nice. Your bucket width essentially, and you would do that. You'd climb out onto the side, and then you'd bucket it. You'd scratch it in, and then you're just tilling it up, and then you're getting your hand built. I wouldn't be able to do as much work in that scenario, and your hand workers have to do more work in that scenario. But yeah, you're desodding and you're scratching it all up so they can pull all the rocks out, and then they come in and do it all by hand. And you can do as much of that as you want if you have room in the forest and the grade permits it. A lot of that actually has to do with how skilled you are as an operator, and it could be dangerous for a lot of operators, especially if they're not used to that kind of thing. Most operators aren't used to that sort of thing. When I built my house, I really pushed the limits of what what a machine is capable of. I think you felt a little bit of that on the trails we worked on together, because you weren't used to being in a side hill situation as that, to the point where he was just getting vertigo, basically staring over the edge. And
well, like Revelstoke was steep as fuck, but that one spot in Logan Lake, like you look at it on Google Earth and it's just a sheer wall.
Okay, well, picture that in PG this year. I built, I don't even know what, it was like a cliff face, basically. It was very third world vibey, where I probably felt like you did when you were building that. I was literally moving around like...
And then there really only was 40 meters. The rest.
What doesn't matter, even if it's 10 feet. Like if you're going to roll down an embankment and die, the machines are dangerous for that. They're like, there's no way around it. If there's no airbags, there's no nothing. It's all hard metal. I've been in a situation in a machine where I had to get out quickly and throw a giant ratchet around a tree because it was teetering on falling over, and then I had to use like multiple ratchet setups to counterbalance it while I did a bunch of other weird stuff to get out of the position so I didn't roll off the side of the mountain. And that's saying something, because I've 4x4, I've pulled myself up mountains using trees. Like you just hook on and you got your blade behind you, and I hump up, blade down, move, boom, grab other tree, blade up, hump up, blade down. Like I've climbed mountains like that because I needed to start at the top. It's like I can't build a trail from the bottom up.
No, hell no.
You just can't do it. I was like, not the process that we were talking about earlier. I was like, so yeah, I don't know. Work safe, BC, don't listen. But
yeah, you go by safety first, always number one.
For sure.
So if it's at that point, then yeah, build your road and tread to sit on. The scariest time I find is always when you're transitioning, either from like building a tread. Okay, now the natural grade is enough that I'm gonna climb around in 4x4 mode.
That's right.
It's always the transition that gets you, I find, going from one to the other.
Yeah, and that's just about what you're sort of used to. And to be quite honest, the more like time off you have from that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were in that style of build, whatever, that 1 week, that 1 year, and then you haven't been in that situation again. It's like the longer you're out of a machine and you're not doing that, the more you forget what the thing's capable of, or at least what the limits are, because you need to know the limits of your machine. That's for sure. If you want, but that's all has to do with also the cost, right? You don't have to do all that stuff if you're within your budget, right? If you're blowing it and you need to save time, then that's a good way to make up that time. I don't recommend it, I guess, but
yeah, well, let's say you have the perfect terrain for it. Like it's a pretty gentle slope, open trees, like Tumbler Ridge. When we were in there, it's almost like why not climb around?
100%. Yeah, if you'll know your limit.
If you don't have to build a road and a trail, if you can just build a trail, that's going to be the faster way to do it.
Yeah, be comfy. But there's a lot of like situations where I want. I've got the grade. I've dumped a bunch of speed. The trail seems like it would be boring if it was 6 feet wide. what are we going to do? We want to single track that out. And that's what you do. You got lower speeds and you want more action. You got to bring the trail down to a narrow tread width, and then you got to build cooler things. And in order to do that, I boom through a set of trees. I dig my single track, and then I climb up and around, however, to get to the other side of those trees, and then I come out the other side. I can't fit my machine between those trees, basically. And at that speed that you're going, it's exciting to go through a narrow, your bars, whatever, you got a foot on each side, right? But it matches the speed where you're like, ooh, that felt crazy. Yeah. Even though you got a lot of room. And it's worth doing that over and over again, all over the place.
The trail like Super Nugget, like the grade seems for the most part pretty mellow on that mountain.
I was definitely in the sides a lot on that. But like a Logan Lake scenario where it's like a burnt forest, and it's a lot like home here. It's like you can go anywhere. You don't even need to build your trail. You could build your trail from the side the entire way if you wanted to. And you could do that. You could single track it so that it's a foot wide pretty easily through a whole trail. And I'd recommend that over hand digging it if you were trying to like make money at it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things now is to just build single track with an excavator. It almost feels like lately I build the single track with the excavator, and the large volume jumps I end up stacking by hand in my own time.
Oh yeah.
These days.
Yeah, well, you're just migrating back to the soul, to the beginning of it.
A little bit, yeah.
And that's fine. It's like it's great, really. You just got to have the energy for that.
I don't know if you want to talk about this. You just said something about a burnt forest.
When are we going to talk about my burnt house?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think when you started Super Nugget, I was kind of just watching this happen through social media. I don't think we even knew each other too well back then. I think one of the reasons that trail is so good because you had such a bad thing happen to you. I think that was like pretty early into when Super Nugget was getting built.
It definitely changed what I put into that trail. That's for sure. I have a trail at the farm called the Nugget, and it's kind of a smaller version of that trail for sure, in like jump size and that kind of thing. And everybody loved that trail here because you can show up to the farm, and a lot of people tried to stay they just stay away from the farm because it had got some stigma behind it, right? It's like everybody thinks that there's 60-foot jumps all over the place, and when you come here to visit, that's what you got to ride. But I learned that pretty quick when I started building, like pretty much year one. By the end of year one, after buying this place, me out there building crazy shit, I had no friends to ride it. No one would ride the trails that I was building, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if I want people to come out here, so the next year started all over again, left all those trails to grow over, and started from the green up. So I had my green trail and I had my blue trail, and then it went up from sort of there. And then I had all the styles of all the trails that I liked. Nugget would be your blue-green jump trail that was at the farm. And everybody loved it, right? Because it's a great warm up. So this place, years later, whatever, ended up burning to the ground. I don't know what that was, 2017, 2018. One of those years. Burnt to the ground, and I lost everything. So no house, no cars, no bikes, no whatever I was like at work with my underwear, I guess the one bike. And my old truck that I wanted to burn to the ground for years. So they didn't burn to the ground, but so the whole place is gone. I was going through some problems anyways. I don't know, you call them health issues. I got really bad hips, and biking was getting harder and harder. And I didn't know what I was going to do with the place anyways. You can picture it being like an old man with like a giant jump park, and you just stare at it every day. Like, you can't ride it. That was my fear. But anyways, it burnt down. I was working up on the Nugget, or the Super Nugget. At the time, they didn't have a name for it. And yeah, my place was gone. So I was like, okay, well, we want that trail back. This is the kind of trail that they're after. Let's do the Nugget up like the dream that we always wanted for it, which is length, really. At the farm is like quite short. But there, you've got a couple of kilometers of Nugget to build. And yeah, that's why it's the Super Nugget. The trail comes from, at the farm, you go and we got really good dirt, but we've got these Easter eggs kind of all over the place, these giant eggs, and they get pretty big. They, whatever, the size of a couch sometimes. Amazing dirt, you're digging, all of a sudden there's this giant nugget in the ground. And then they're all over the tabletops and everywhere else. You drag them out and you put them up, and that's why it's called the Nugget. It's not weed like everybody thinks. It can't be, though. Miles loved it. He's like, oh, yeah, the Nug.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's rocks. But that's how that came to be. And I put everything I had into that because I wasn't going to be going home for a while. And it worked out pretty good. I do love that trail, aside from the fact that it's at a ski hill. And
It rides like someone who's building their heart out.
Yeah, I think we do that.
I think what a lot of people don't know, though, is that after Super Nugget got built, that style has just been refined over the past few years in some of the most obscure places in BC, too.
Yeah, well, what people don't know is when it comes to government funding, the more north you go, the more that's available. Basically because they're trying to put more recreation into those mining towns and blue-collar towns, so people have something better to do than drugs or whatever you do when you're just working all the time. I don't know, you make a lot of money and you don't know what to do with yourself. Biking's a great option. So the government's trying to help those towns out a lot, and they're willing to put more money into those towns, and that's why we're up north a lot these days. But yeah, with like every new trail that we make, we have more of that insight. I just learned that coming from a dark hallway into a light open space on your bike,
vice versa, other way around.
Oh, the other way around. Yeah, causes people to grab their brakes, right? So I'm not going to forget that, and I'm going to add it to the next build. And it's kind of never ending that way. You're always better than you were, no matter how good you are.
What's your least favorite shit to see on a trail?
I don't know. I stopped thinking about it. I got to go back in time to think about all the things I didn't like about biking. But
something maybe you see happening today still.
Well, I mean, still happening today is rest points. People don't think.
I guess there's just a big symposium at Whistler, and they're trying to figure out how to get people to stop at the rest points that they make. I think everyone needs to rest. I think a lot of people shredding party laps with their friends, you don't rest. And then the ski hills are noticing people get fucked up. They crash.
No, that
they're
too.
Tired. They don't realize they're tired.
That's a great point, actually.
They're just discovering this crazy thing, this rest point theory, the pull-out whatever theory. They're trying to figure out how do we actually recommend almost to people.
Oh, make them stop.
Yeah, and I think you have a lot of ways. I think we have a lot of ways to do that.
Oh, yeah. There isn't a rest spot that isn't obvious on a trail that I built. There's like, we just peter you out.
Let's say you're in front of all these people at that symposium thing that I heard about. How would you explain to them?
Well, you just did it. I mean, the way to the front of the line with like talking anybody that doesn't know anything about biking into doing something is to throw safety at them. We're going to save lives, right? Someone that doesn't understand biking for sure understands or thinks that it's super dangerous. So, and they've got probably like a lot of people ending up in their emergency room. It's a dangerous sport. And there's more people doing it that don't know anything about it. It's like you just jump in there. Here's a $5,000 bike, and they push you down a hill, and You don't know, man. You're just like out there. This is their first time. It's got to be overwhelming and crazy. And they pommel themselves because their buddy's trying to show them like how awesome it is. And he's taking them down something they're not ready for. And it's like those scenarios are just going to happen all over the place. So yeah, that's what I would say if I was trying to talk those kinds of people into putting in a rest spot. Now, that's just the angle I would use to talk them into it.
Well, they all know they need rest spots. They're at that point. They know they need rest spots.
Safety, rest spots.
Where should they put their rest spot?
Well, I've dumbed it down to like...
And you can give away your secrets because this is trail building. No one's going to listen to it. Everyone already has their process of...
Sure. I don't care about secrets anymore. I get into these like little moods where I feel like, but at the end of the day, it's the greater good. I'm so old now that it's the greater good.
Yeah, we want trails to be good. I'm not trying to hide. Like that's why I'm making this podcast in the first place.
Exactly.
Is because I wish like 10 years ago I could have listened to people tell me their ideas behind building.
It's the greater good. A minute and 45 is what we boiled it down to. You ride for a minute and 45 seconds. And that was before I was 50. So we're talking me 45. I'm like, okay, minute and 45. I still feel pretty good when I stop, but I'm tired. And then me stopping at a minute and 45 at 51. And then I'm kind of sucking wind. I'm not going to lie. I'm like tired when I hit a minute and 45. And I'm talking about a minute and 45 of like action-packed trail here. I'm not talking about some boring ass trail. Like it's just jump, berm, roller, like skip or whatever, on, off. You just information. And I don't get out as much. A minute and 45 is still a happy number. And when you double that up, you got a rest spot minute 45 and a rest stop minute 45. That's a great number for whoever's the next fittest, right? So you just keep adding these spots. It's like you can stop at the first one, you can stop at the fourth one. It doesn't really matter, but having the option to stop is imperative. It's like you
want to make sure the crew catches up too and nobody's left behind.
Oh man, there's no end to like the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And what kind of macho asshole.
Now, I think if you do too many rest points, if basically every like
you don't want to kill the trail.
Yeah, kill the trail. But if they're like an option to pull out over there, I think there's a difference between pullouts and rest points a little bit too. Is something I was thinking about this summer.
Oh yeah,
spots maybe where someone could pass versus where like it's like no, everyone is going to stop here because the speed is run out. Like you go up a hill or whatever, grade reversal, and it's like. Maybe it's a suggestion, like you could roll through it if you really wanted to, but like physically, like your speed is going to run out and you're going to rest here.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, there's an option to pull out here. I'm stuck behind a person or someone's behind me, so I'll pull
it would be interesting feedback. I'd like literally put together a survey for something like that and the type of rider that's making that comment of your survey. But maybe my minute and because my rest spots are pretty obvious. You know what I mean? They're like, the flow is broken. It's like this is a place to stop, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe pull off at every minute and 45, and then at 3 minutes is the no one's going any further. Without you're pretty much out of speed, and this is clearly where you should rest, right?
Not being able to. I think people not using your rest spots comes down to the other style process of not testing your trail and not being in charge of what's going on. You're just in an excavator grinding away.
Well, we figured that all out by the fact that we build the way we do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you go to work on our crew, you're riding a finished product all the way to the job site. So not only are you testing it daily as you like right after you build it, but you're testing it for the whole shift. So 2 weeks of you riding that trail. And we've been in a situation multiple times where 2 weeks into it and what you were in love with originally is not the same. It's like lost something. Something's just not vibing with what you originally thought was great. And you only learn that by riding, and you're only able to do that if it's a finished product to where you're at the next day, right? So, and we probably learned that minute and 45 from that. Like we're just going to work every day, and you're like, you know, going to work, right? You're like, whoa, this is a great spot.
Yeah.
It's a great spot
Stop and
to,
chill.
you know, call it, right? And back then, that would have led to probably a problem after that because we didn't have the foresight to think about it. Nowadays, we just straight up incorporate it into the build. You're just, minute 45, we are coming to a stop. So maybe we're going to change our trajectory earlier to change how that vibe comes to that stop, right? Instead of being caught off guard for it.
You can do stuff with it too. Like, oh, I got to switch back here. Well, maybe it's a good spot anyways for a rest point. And now all of a sudden I don't have to stack a giant berm.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever. Like sometimes you got this rip and flow and trail and then you want to build a drop, but you know, you can't, because of the type of trail it is, let's say you can't build this, you know, 30-foot drop. A good place to build a drop is at the start of your rest point because you're going 0K. You're like, oh, I give a couple pedal strokes. I plop off this thing. It's a controlled drop versus you have to go down this trail.
Yeah, and it comes out of
and you're
nowhere.
going a certain speed, and then you know there's this drop up there, and it's a gap drop. It's, you know, it's like nerve wracking where your check drop is at the beginning of a section. You can actually walk over and take a peek at it.
Exactly. It's a safe spot to put your bike down and take
It's
a
a
look
great
at
spot
it.
to
Then
put
it's
a-
playing into like progression and all these other things that clients tend to want.
Totally. It's a great spot. Well, clients, people. The whole, you know, reason I started thinking like this was just, you know, I had a girlfriend. She wanted to ride with us, right? So you're like, you're gonna accommodate and try and coax and I don't want to say trick your girlfriend into riding bigger stuff, but that's how to do it. You kind of
You have to put yourself into their shoes.
Yeah, you will. Anybody. You're just like, how do you like calm a situation like 8-foot drop? You know, I know. Let's give people a chance to stop at it comfortably and have a look at it and not feel bad about that. Not feel like they're holding up the crew or whatever, right? And if it happens to be at the end of a minute 45 stop break where everybody's just stopped, they're going to feel more likely and more comfortable to, you know,
Yeah.
hey, do you guys mind waiting while I figure this out? Like that's going to happen more likely if you think that way.
Yeah. If you want to be a sick builder, you got to build for the girls too. If you're just building for the dudes, I don't know. There's something a little funny about that.
Yeah. Well, it's
You only want to impress the dudes, you know.
different perspective for what a sick builder is. That's for sure. It's like, a sick builder is someone who builds a big gnarly feature. It's like, no, that's not necessarily it.
Yeah. Do you have the skills to do both?
Yeah. It's the skills to understand who you're after, who you're trying to get into that style of trail, all of that stuff.
If mountain biking doesn't totally crash and burn, where do you think trails are going to go? I have my idea of what the future looks like. I think it's a lot of e-biking trails, e-biking products, trails that are built to fit e-bikes and the momentum they have going uphill.
Well, if you're gonna like whatever, Whistler over capacity to the point where they can charge a peak season. I don't even know. I know that their winter is like $300 for a lift ticket, right? And it was like, how can they do that? Well, they're doing that because they have too many people, and that's crazy to say, but there's just too many people. They're blowing up the hill. They can't maintain it as fast as they're blowing it up. What do they got to do? They got to scare them away somehow. What's a great way to do that? You charge more. You get more rich assholes that are willing to pay more money for a less clapped hill. So the next hill, same thing. Next hill, same thing. All that stuff's just going to get more and more and more and more expensive and more tailored to rich assholes. And the way it should go, and the way I think it should go, is you build these parks, pedal parks, at which people love to pedal, and that's fair. And then the people that don't, it is like it's less traffic no matter how you slice it. You can have all these pop-up little pedal parks all over BC, Alberta, wherever, all over Canada, and they're accessible by e-bike. And as much as people think that e-bikes are out there and it'll increase it to the point where they're trashing everything, that's not true. There's too many options. You can do anything on an e-bike, go anywhere on an e-bike, right? You got more time to do it after work, but because of that, you spread out and you go and ride more places and do other things that keep you away from the ski hill. So if you're building like ski hill style trails, like high quality, purpose built, nice trails, and you can just whip up there on an e-bike, there's no friggin' potholes, maybe some braking bumps if it's built a little wrong, maybe the occasional blow up, but easy to maintain, way smoother. There's still bloody pine needles on most of these trails, and they're full flow trails, just like a ski hill. So the benefit for the extra little weight of the bike, who gives a shit? Like the fact that the trail is that much better and less clapped, I think that's definitely the future. Not to mention that you've got the whole alpine experience that most people don't even, right? You got to be a core pedal nerd athlete to go and enjoy some alpine riding? Hell no, man. Just go and get yourself an e-bike. The bloody things don't go that fast. They should go faster, in my opinion. But 30 kilometers an hour, you're talking a max 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers an hour on some steep climb. Go ride some nice tech up. Like the last park we were working in, we were berming up tracks. And you can do that. You can shred. You can hold, if you hold grade, like if you're grading your up track, which is what we did. We literally picked a grade where the e-bike would go, say, 28 kilometers an hour. Then we built all our corners to match that, right? Like you have a certain capacity. If your corner's too tight, 30 kilometers an hour, it's too tight, right? But you match the speed to the corner on an up track, on an e-bike, you are shredding. It feels exactly like going downhill. If all your corners match your speed, and you keep that action going, up, down, left, right. We built like in flat sections, we've actually put like little rhythm sections on the up track. And it's awesome.
It's almost like waking up to a new world when you get an e-bike and you realize you don't have to buy a lift ticket every day just to ride amazing trails. And then you realize the trails are actually way better shape. You're able to access way more variety of areas.
All of a sudden,
I think it's going to hit ski hills like a brick, like once.
Oh, for sure. Or if anything, it'll help them.
If they embrace it, I think.
Yeah. Well, ski hills should. I mean, and they have. Like Sun Peaks they keep working on their pedal zone on the other side of the mountain, and they're building some tracks.
Yeah, they did like a new alpine loop.
Yeah. I feel like they're leaving out the full market. They think that people that are going up into the alpine just want to, pedal around and stare at the sky and the peaks and what. Yeah, sure, you want to do that at the rest spots, but we're mountain bikers and we want the trail to be sweet everywhere we set our tires. So I don't know why those alpine loops and stuff aren't bermed or made the way we build, which is like.
And this is just in general. We're not picking on any place.
No, because there's. I always say this. Everybody complains about. You keep putting in this new flow trails with no ride. You're like, holy shit, man! I've been doing this for literally 30 years, 19 years of riding, hiking trails and shit. Like it's all out there. Like there's millions of trails.
There's so much jank to go ride.
There's so much
There's
jank
no point
to go ride.
Complaining about a new flow
There's
trail.
still, I'd say, 75%. You just don't go to them because you're lazy assholes. And hell, if you're lazy, just get on the e-bike like the rest of us, I don't know what to say. But there's tech trails to be had out there all over the place. All over the place. No one goes rides them. Why? I don't know. They just go to the ski hill and complain of the flow trails. There's too many flow trails or wherever people are putting in. But man, I don't get any of the complaining stuff. There's lots of riding out there.
The uphill on an e-bike becomes so much funner when you realize you can take the physics of a downhill flow trail and apply it to an up track.
Even tech,
the skinnies,
skinnies
on the up track.
Yeah, skinnies on an up track. We did build a lot of that in Tumbler.
Yeah, actually. It's fun.
High speed uphill skinnies where you're just ripping like 20K. There's no end to it.
That's the future I see for trails anyways. If I was trying to make a business off selling a mountain bike product, I would be fully embracing that e-bike kind of. I used to joke about uphill flow trails. I used to make fun of it, and now I'm like, I wonder how I could build a proper uphill flow trail. It's not the only thing I want to ride. Obviously, I still love my downhill bike.
Well, that's why you shouldn't cap it, and that's why it's an art, and that's why people should keep building weird shit and different shit, and there shouldn't be any rules on it because you won't know until you experiment with whatever the next thing is. If you keep building the same thing over and over again, it will get boring.
Trying not to build the same trail twice.
Yeah, we don't try. I mean, we're flow trail builders, so it is boiled down to a science, and it's, to me, it's got to be correct, right? So you get railroaded into correct quite a bit, but that doesn't. We don't succumb to it. Basically, we keep fighting that, and a lot of that has to do with actually how you're scoping the mountain. And in our favor, the mountain does depict everything, and every mountain is different. So every piece of terrain is different. Everywhere you go, it's different. Like the trees are different. That this is different. That's different, and it creates a completely different atmosphere. And no matter how hard we try to make it different, it's just gonna be different anyways, just because of where it is. Like no two trails are the same, but we do spend a lot of time trying to. It
can be the same. I mean, today was the first time I rode the farm here. I never rode it before the fire, and that was because I was too busy building 5,000 and a half of the exact same corner over and over. I think that's because of the formula that I was building with at the time. And I think there's a lot of people still doing that. I think that type of trail seems to be the one that is the same trail that pops up everywhere. And that's the back to forth switchback.
I think that's an experience thing. You were pretty young at the time. So
my beginning into machine building was fixing those early 2000s trails where it was like, okay, we got to slow it down. How do we slow it down? We do a trillion switchbacks back and forth.
Yeah.
And then you watch how long it took to build that and how quickly it takes that to blow up. And you're like, okay, how do I not repeat that same thing over?
Well, and then there's the years and years of when you think of Silver Star, right? It's like they've got that little S-turny trail right from the village down to the chair, right? In the beginning, you never hit a trail with berms like that.
No, yeah.
This is years ago. Never hit a trail with berms like that. And you can be going down there, and it was sick.
Yeah.
It was sick. So, of course, everybody who travels there, and there's still people to this day who they don't know. They come here from wherever. They don't have anything like that. And they go down that, and that's the sickest thing ever.
Yeah, I guess if you've never seen the giant 180 berms before.
You're I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to build. I need this. We need this in our park. This is sick. 10 years later, my back, you go shred 50 back-to-back G-force breaking corners, man. That's probably why my arm fell apart. It's just repetitive, and it's grueling on your body, and it's all sorts of things. You're not going to learn that until you've done it. That's when you realize you need corner stick, but you need to break it up. You need to mix it up. And if we kept doing that, and we do that now, nobody likes building these corners, by the way. Building a corner is a lot of work. So we tend to avoid it, but at the same time, we don't like horseshoe corners. They're just, you throw one in for you'll want to throw one in. It's nice to have a corner that's got that many G's and wraps around that far and you're locked in for that long and all of that stuff. But it sucks when you live there and you have to ride it every day over and over again.
Sucks when you're the guy that has to maintain them too, because I think they're one of the highest maintenance features.
For sure.
Other than if you just cut a straight down line down the mountain.
And what we learned from all that is actually it's more fun to do, quarter turns, duck dives, like, stuff where you can kind of dance through it versus just muscle through it, right?
I was going to ask you, like, there's so many more types of berms than just the horseshoe berm. Like when you say corner, I think a lot of people think of that 180 berm, but like there's like bucket berms, there's high side berms and low side berms.
Yeah. And even like this year we abandoned, because there's a lot of mistakes made in trail building, right? It's an art, do what you want. But yeah, putting a tabletop with a berm right after it, a lot of people aren't ready to deal with a corner right after a berm. And the stupid part is
a jump.
Well, even after a berm, right? Like if it's right. Oh, yeah. But these things formulate because when you're building a corner, it's because you're doing things with it. Like a lot of people grasp the concept of you want to go uphill to lose speed before you do your corner, right? So not a down corner, but you're going to go up, turn around and come back, right? And as soon as you start cutting into your side hill, let's just say, you end up in a side hill situation because of this most of the time, they're going up and they're like, oh shit, I've got all this dirt to work with, because they're cutting up the hill all of a sudden. They realize that this side hill cut uphill. So then they build this air kind of into a corner.
Right, yeah.
Right? You just get railroaded into it.
Because it's already there, basically.
Yeah, you didn't think it was there, but you realize that it's there. It is there. The potential's there. So you end up doing that. And yeah, it never works out the way you think it's going to work out. You don't have this. It flattens your landing out of this jump, first of all. So if you're landing high, you're just splatting. And if you're inside, you're not set up for your corner very well, right? So none of it really works very well at the end. And it took me a while. I mean, whatever. What's a while? Like a season, a season before I discovered that, that you don't want to kind of do those kinds of things. What's another one? So you were asking about corners, right? The different kind of corners, which what got me off on this tangent. This year we ditched like the grade reversal concept for it, because you want drainage, right? So you're coming around your bermed corner, you go down, and then you want to go up again, right, to control your water flow, right? You don't want water running down the trail. So you're doing grade reversals constantly, which works out great for flow trails. But if you're coming down the trail and you're cornering just a little bit, and then you hit an opportunity to build something, because usually that's the way it works. The ground goes up and you're like, oh, I can put a roller here, I can put a jump here, I can put whatever here. But your corner is coming down into it, and you want your water to drain out when it hits that jump, right?
Yeah.
So you end up having this outslope drainage, right? When you're trying to inslope off this berm into this jump. So you end up with this train track effect. If you're high on the berm, there's a moment there where you're going through like a drainage bump,
yeah,
and smashing into this takeoff. Happens all the time that you get funneled into this.
And your sediment's going to go there too.
Yeah, so it'll eventually fill that out, and then you get that wash sediment just before the takeoff of a jump, right? And that actually took a long time to, beat into the ground crew, right? Like I build things, right? But, you're expecting other things to happen there, and you come back and you're like, oh shit, there's this friggin' train track just before this jump, and you're trying to convince them it's a bad idea, and they just spent 3 days working on it, and they're like, you're trying to pass it through, You're like, oh, we're just gonna make it work somehow, and it never freaking does. So this year we spent more on Big O drainage. I just buy it.
Yeah.
Have truckloads of that stuff lying around. And a bucket corner is where I was getting at with this whole thing. Rip bucket corners everywhere. If you have a full corner into everything you're doing till the bitter end, that's walled up, the trail's going to feel way better than a corner that has to end so that you can have
A drain.
a drain that's not in-ground drainage, right? You in slope dig the hugest hole on the inside of your corner, run your drainage out. Bucket corners is what they're called. Put them in everywhere. The more bucket corners you can put on the trail, the sicker your trail is going to run, no matter what. And it's just about not being lazy, really, at the end of the day. And we forced yourself this year to not ever be lazy. Like, you just put in the extra effort, build your bucket corner, dig your big inside hole, no matter what.
It almost ends up being less work too. Like,
it kind of does.
Because like you can spend however much time regrading it so that you're pulling the rider away from the spot where it's going to drain. They don't need the support there, but it's going to take you forever to dig out, or at least to like regrade that or get your line, set your line so it's not there. And in the end, it's going to ride worse than if you just do a nice bucket berm. I used to avoid the bucket berms. Just maybe I had a hard time getting pipe or something, but
well, that's why they're sort of a lot of work.
Yeah,
but
you got to bring the pipe in, I guess, too.
You got to drag the pipe in. You got to sit around.
Sometimes that can be fun too if the pipe's in a big roll.
Yeah, that's the way she comes, in a big roll. You just drag it down the trail with your sure on.
Okay, sure, Ron.
Yeah, that's what we ended up calling it too. Yeah, bucket corners are the answer to everything, and you make the trail exactly how you want with drainage like that. You just make it in that perfect arc to where you want to make 4 in a row. You know, you don't have to have any compromise of, I got to drop it the opposite way of the way my bike works because I need it to drain to the outside, right? It's just to me, in the end, it's lazy building. And then, you can have your contours exactly how you want it, like a pump track would work, like there's nothing fighting you when you're building it. I recommend it.
Yeah, I think one that we kind of learned together was the high side berm feels flatter than it actually does. There's that one corner Brad had to redig by hand like multiple times.
Right. Oh, right. The up and around the tree scenario.
Yeah, when you're actually on a bike, like it's like the level inside of the corner where you're not going to ride, but maybe slow people are going to ride. Like even that has to be sloped so much to get the proper support on a high side, I find.
100%. Yeah. No, you like having stuff walled up, under berming stuff is a huge problem that a lot of trail builders make, I think, is not walling stuff up. They do it, I get it. It's seemingly terrifying for a green rider. We'll call it a green blue rider. But if you're jumping, I don't know, like a 10-foot long and low tabletop, you should be able to corner better than these flat bank corners that help nobody. Like you can't corner every tabletop after these flat bank corners. No one can clear. No one that can ride really well can clear. That kids definitely can't. No one wins in that scenario. Like you need to cup your corners.
The higher up your berm, the steeper. And that's not taken away from the slow riders, I don't think, either, because they always have somewhere to go, like in the bottom of the berm. As long as it's not, there's one type of berm that it's like the dive berm, but you can tell as they're dropping in with the excavator to the apex, they're running out of dirt, so they start digging that inside deeper. So when you go into the berm as a slow rider, it's a switchback, there's like a pit of doom basically sucking you in the whole time.
Totally.
And you end up kind of teed up into the catch of the berm at the bottom. Helps a lot when you set if you really have to switch back and you do that big grade reversal up to it, you avoid having that big hole essentially.
No, I think it's 100% that it's.
I wish I could name like an example of a spot that you could picture in your mind.
Well, I mean, all these people listening to this, it's like maybe they've ridden all these spots, maybe they haven't. So I don't know. I guess you get a kick out of it if you have. You can kind of visualize that one thing and either agree with you or don't.
I know.
I don't even look at someone and go, you're building it wrong. And I just know why
You
they're
know where their
building it
head is
wrong.
at.
I know the psychology that traps you into making that thing based on the landscape.
And it's not something you can just straight up tell a person either. Like,
No,
you can't put an idea in a person's head until you actually let them ride an example of it.
That's right. Yeah, like an example of a correct thing. And
Like-
that's kind of hard to produce in the bad spot that you're at, trying to tell them that that's wrong. It's like you
Yeah.
don't have the good one to, because I remember having the conversation about the bucket corner or the sort of the 180 corners, right?
Well, I think like when I started working with you full time, I was like, I hated 180 corners. I just spent
No, you
like
already
3
had-
years. I already fucking hated them
You already
so
had that
much.
figured out.
But then like you had the copy of the IMBA in your van and I read that. I was like, oh, there it is right there. Like, I don't think like everyone rags on the IMBA standards. I don't think they're wrong. They're just missing a little bit of information.
I need the audiobooks. I didn't read any of those books that were in my van, by the way.
I don't think I've read it start to finish.
No, that's what I've always liked about you. You do put the literature in, and you do have the tech in you. And I think that is kind of the paying attention to that. It can help a lot of people and the future of that. I was almost thinking about writing a book myself. A book I'd probably never read, but
Doing this seemed easier than writing a book.
No,
I'm not
you're-
like, am I the guy that's going to write the trail building book? Like,
I don't think
No.
anybody would read it. But you're right. Maybe this is the answer, and that's also being in tune with the.
the other thing is, I'm sure people are going to disagree with it, but you can very easily do this. Just record and get a mic and talk to your ideas and tell me.
Well, I
why-
feel like the only people that are going to disagree with it are people that are at the level of riding that we're at. So black rider plus, and they're fit and the top of the game, and they are building their own trails the way they want to. And shit, well, no one can say anything to that. That is 100% the best way to do it. But those people generally don't consider anybody else when it comes to trail building. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about professional trail building for everybody, and and as us especially, try to consider and endlessly think about that when it comes to trail building, considering everybody, considering kids on 24-inch wheel bikes and how they're out there and they shred and they're better than a lot of the adults, but man, they're like featherweight. Yeah, a 90-pound kid soaking wet riding a 24-inch mountain bike, and you want your blue jump trail, because they can ride that shit. You want it to work for them. How do you do that? How do you do that?
and make it work for that high end rider.
Yeah, and make it work for a high-end rider. And in the end, knowing that you have to lean more towards that kid than the high-end rider. The high-end rider is already a high-end rider. Go ride your...
Yeah, go build your own shit.
Yeah, go build your own trail. The bottom line is, if you're unhappy, and this is what happened to me, you're unhappy with what's out there, go build your own trail. I literally bought my own acreage and built my own bike park for that exact reason. My friends hated me before I bought this property. All I did was complain about shit and trails. Like, everybody's trails sucked, in my opinion. I thought they all sucked. Thought the ski hills sucked, but not everything sucked. And then, you get that, well, go do it yourself. I'm like, oh yeah. No, you're right. You're my friends. I actually should think about that for a second. And then I did. And yeah.
Drew calls me out a lot on that for complaining about trails when we ride them. And I'm like, oh, I got to shut up and stop being a dick and just enjoy it.
Yeah. And they all do enjoy it because they don't give a shit about it being perfect like we do. We're weirdos.
Most people just want to go out and ride and have a good time and
No.
not mangle themselves and their body.
Trail builders are weirdos, man. It's like you're building because you see something completely different, and to the point where you need to do it. You just need to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And whatever. That's great. But go do it yourself.
I don't know how long we've been going, but we can kind of start wrapping it up. I got a couple little questions left.
Okay, I'll make them short.
You got any dream builds in you?
Oh, my dream build is just to get my body back together. That's my dream build. No, it's getting harder and harder to bike. Maybe I'm just down because I've had, mounting problems with my body. Currently have a hernia. I've got two really bad hips. One's just been replaced like in the last 5 years.
So building a new body would be cool.
Yeah, that would be I'm trying to build my body. And because of all that, because of the stupid hernia, I haven't been able to be fit. So I'm losing my fitness. It's all compiling and it sucks.
I think the best thing you could do then is spend 10 hours a day in an excavator.
Yeah, an excavator is a wheelchair for me. I couldn't even do this if I wasn't the operator guy. I just went and redid Easy Rider at Harper Mountain here in Kamloops. There was only 2 ground workers. I got out of the machine a lot and I raked a lot. Those 2 ground workers would laugh at me right now when they hear this, right? Like, yeah, he got out for 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. But I did that, and there's just no way in hell I would ever be able to do what they do. Even Brad at the same age, like 50 or whatever, he still punches in a 10-hour shift, raking, shoveling, smacking, compacting, chucking, rock, the whole shebang. And there's no way, an hour, you give me an hour in the dirt by hand and I'm dying. So excavator is a wheelchair for this guy. Dream builds. My dream build is trying to get my house back in order to some extent. Like before the fire, how am I going to get out of this situation is sort of what I was thinking. Cause it was like, when I got my hip replacement, the surgeon was like, you're going to quit, right? Like that was sort of the deal. Like we were putting it off for like 15 years cause I wasn't ready to quit biking. So I'm back at my house after 3 years of this, not being here. And, all the trails burnt and they're gone, but the park's still there, and it's tough to go down there and you look at the 40 line, which is comprised of a bunch of 40-foot gaps, and there's a 50 in there, and it's like high speed and it's all the rest of it. And I went through there this year. I think I went all the way to the number 4 or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, do I got that? I don't know. Did I go and get the whole line going? Yeah, there's a few people that wanted to get that going. So I put in the work and got it going. And then I realized I need to rebuild the Nugget because, Super Nugget exists now and I needed to top that. So you got to go from Super Nugget to, I don't know what, Ultra Nugget, beats me. But basically went and put in that line, which is a whole new line of like 17 back to back with no flat bottom in between, but kind of mellower jumps.
Yeah, damn, that line was fun.
Right. So keep going with that. I guess a dream build for me would be getting the Whiskey River going again. So there's a trail up on I got like 2K of tech steep trail up above the house. And I had 5 trails on it. And one of them was legendary, I think. And I miss it to this day. And a lot of people are like, you should just get that going again. And if I find gas in the tank to do that, I will do that. That'd be my next personal quest for a build. Every build is always is the kind of dream build. We've got another trail in Mackenzie next year and another trail back in Prince George. And both those trails are you have an opportunity and a clean slate to start all over again. What are you going to do now? And just having that opportunity to keep punching in whatever you want.
Did anyone get a shotgun to the face this summer in Prince George?
Oh, yeah. No. When Chris got shot at that in the podcast. Don't go to Quesnel, you get shot at.
Lovely place to ride bikes, though.
And no, we put in some good jumps in Quesnel.
Wicked bike park there.
Go hit the Black Jump Trail there. It's pretty sweet.
Last thing I want to talk about is ice biking, because that's like one of my favorite things to do now.
Well, that's interesting, actually, because I've been trying to... that is another quest that hasn't been solved yet. And putting in this new Nugget trail was, I would say, 50% trying to build that line so that it will work iced up. So we'll see how that goes. Put a lot of work. It's like definitely midsummer blue groove, a very overshooty trail. So a lot of scrubbing.
I noticed you had the Sur-on with the track in the old sea can there.
That's right.
Does that have something to do with it?
Well, that was a whole Logan Lake quest. When we finished Logan Lake, like those are sick, fun trails, and we made them pretty high speed for what they were, right? Like you can go 60K on a trail. Like chances are, if that was iced up, it'd be really good. It'd be a really good ice bike trail. And with e-bikes, sky's the limit on that, right? You can ice up, you can pedal up and pedal down. So I bought a Sur-on and I put a snow track on it to see if I could go run it down those trails that we made. So it's not fat bikey, right? Like you want it to be ice bikey. If I could create a drag and do it differently from like a fat bike drag where it's designed to like, I don't know. I'm not even exactly sure because I haven't done a lot of it, but for some reason you can't ride a skinny tire on a fat bike. I mean, not for some reason, because it's not packed enough.
Yeah, you need a firm.
And you go and rut it out, right? So the way we ice bike is like bobsled. You want to make it ice. You got to make it bulletproof ice. If you could Zamboni a trail, it would be the best thing you've ever ridden with ice bikes.
Talking about DIY, like putting a screw through each knob in your tire.
Yeah. We're talking about, spiked up and not like every second one and not like whatever. Just going to go out and ride some mountain bike trails. We're talking about every lug and lots of lugs. So you have lots of spikes hitting the ground. So you have faster rolling and less resistance and 60 PSI. And, you are ripping and it's bulletproof ice. And you can pretty much bar drag on the lamest corner because it's ice. There's nothing like it.
It's like a side of the sport like I never even knew existed before last year or the year before last year. Being able to just like ride down a frozen creek, totally frozen solid.
Like glare ice. Like, I've done trips to Kananaskis in search of like ice waterfalls to like rip down that. And now that you have like the e-bike, you can ride up ice waterfalls. It's mind blowing. But anyway, so I got the Sur-on with the snow track, and then I was planning to go to Logan Lake because we were all fired up on that pedal park we built, and to go and try and see if I could develop like a mass production style ice bike scenario. So not really a fat bike scenario, but an ice bike scenario. But they weren't prepared for me. And the cross country ski club didn't like the idea.
There's a few stakeholders in that land.
There's winter usage in that area, and those other people don't understand what we're doing, and they weren't ready to try and understand what we're doing. So they were just like, whoa, we need to talk about this and figure this out before you can just go up there and build a nice bike trails, right? So at that point, I decided I was going to do it at home. As far as developing it goes, now, who knows? It might not work out at all. Back in the day, we used to hand shovel it all, right? And that's when you get the best, builds up the best ice. But it's like a lot of work. I want to do it in a way. I'm going to build a specific trail. And that's what I did here with the Nugget. I built the whole thing tabletop so I can run a quad with a plow and literally... I will. I even build a Zamboni if I got to. Like, I will turn these things into fucking ice and see how that goes. I would love to ride straight up ice, but a flow trail that I don't have to shovel every day. Something that I can just grab a cheeseburger and jump on my quad and ride down the trail and then go get on my bike and do the same thing, but on my bike.
There's the dream build.
Yeah. It's crazy. People think I'm crazy, and maybe I am.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of dudes doing it. There's Vinny T.
Well, we're Canadian, hey?
Yeah, half our year is just snow. Yeah,
half our year is snow, and it really is like once you get the product, like if you can get an ice trail,
Yeah.
like there's nothing. It's way better than summer.
Yeah.
It's way when you eat shit, you do it in the snow. It's like when you when you fly off the trail, you're like, oh man, I didn't get hurt.
Yeah. The dog walker trails work nice because they stomp it down with their boots and then it heats up and freezes up at night and eventually turns pretty solid. But that's just a hiking trail, so it's not that exciting.
Oh, it's fun when you got nothing better to do and you're ripping on an e-bike because like that's the beauty of the e-bike. You can't lose on an e-bike. It doesn't suck.
Yeah, everything's fun.
Even when it's lame, you didn't pay a heavy price to, it's not like you ground up this whole thing and then you go down and you're like, oh, that wasn't worth it at all. You're like, oh, who cares? I'm having fun going up. I'm having fun going down. You don't care anymore. You just go in all directions. You don't care. And I would recommend that to anybody. If you have a local zone that's heavily hiked and trafficked, just get your headlamp on. No one's out at night and go and ride a frozen foot pack single track down a mountain. It's awesome. And that shit's all over Kananaskis. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, don't worry. There's only like nobody that listens to this podcast yet.
Yeah, I'll be the one of the first 3 podcasters that no one ever listened to. You have to repost it in a year.
Okay. I think that's it. There's nothing left to talk about trails. That's all. We covered it all.
No, not without ripping apart trails.
Cool. All right. Well, probably talk to you in 5 years from now and it's time to do the podcast again. But peace.